Welcome back to the State Farm Analyst Desk for Golden Guardians versus FlyQuest, where Golden Guardians took a tough loss to Immortals just yesterday.
It was super disappointing. I think myself and a lot of other people were looking at Golden Guardians, some of their games versus Cloud9 and stuff, where they looked better than their records seemed to indicate. We were like, oh, maybe there's some draft problems, and that's why the team was struggling initially, but they'll get that figured out. And then they kind of just go up there and lay an egg versus Immortals. It was very disheartening to see.
Yeah, and Damonte has been such a big player for them. He even got TF this game, and this was the pick that he really was able to perform against Cloud9. So we're thinking, all right, he's got TF again, it's going to be great. But he got really outperformed by his counterpart, Insanity. And then even on the top side, Hauntzer took the wrong runes. And this is not only affects like early game laning phase, but this is how he pressures the side lane later in the game. And Crumbs mentioned, this is what the LPL were finding teams for. Like, this is a bigger mistake than I feel like a lot of people give credit to.
You know, if Golden Guardians cannot shore it up now, it's only going to get harder, because in the stock market segment, we picked Golden Guardians to have a really strong 2 weeks, week 3 and week 4, because their strength of schedule was fairly good. The strongest opponent standings-wise they have, I'm pretty sure it's FlyQuest right now.
Is this team, exactly.
They should have won against the Immortals lineup that hasn't even scrimmed against LCS teams, has no LCS experience this split, so the fact that they took that loss there really should put a fire under their asses and say, listen, this is the time to actually get your draft, get your gameplay in order, because you cannot afford to have the worst game of your split, as Damonte was tweeting out.
I think it's totally fair to put a critical eye towards Golden Guardians right now, given their performance so far. And then when you look at that going into this game, you mentioned maybe their toughest matchup in these next 2 weeks. PowerOfEvil, Santorin is a duo that can stack up against some of the best. And so Closer, Damonte, they've got their work cut out for them.
Yeah, I mean, if Smithy Insanity was giving them trouble, just wait till they get to PoE and Santorin. Like, PoE is a 3-time Pog champ already. He's got 3 player of the games through the first 3 weeks. He was the 3rd pro last split. He's incredible. Santorin's incredible. And this is a really strong mid-jungle 2v2. And like we talked about a little bit at the top of the day, they actually have the highest combined kills per minute in the league. So they are very aggressive right now.
Yeah, from mid lane matchup to jungle matchup, let's hone in a little bit on this one. Santorin's play style. I want to talk about that and why he finds success with the way he plays the game.
So when he plays Trundle, a lot of the time he's willing to go and be putting himself behind for the sake of a lane. But we've seen other Trundles try to do this, and they don't really succeed with a gank. So it looks like his preset paths are a lot more coordinated with his lanes and with a better understanding of what the matchups can do, because those lanes then pay him back. And look at the KDA. I mean, he puts himself behind with the experience differential on the gold, but that's because the champions he's playing are not meant to have a gold advantage. He's not playing the Nidalees. He's playing Trundle, and even when he plays a carry like Kindred, well, you can still be useful with your ultimate.
It's also really impressive, the kill participation, 92.6%.
That's
Usually
huge.
when someone has a massive kill participation like that, what it means is that your team sucks, and they don't get any kills unless it's like a 5v5 team
Right,
fight,
they don't do anything without you.
Yeah, but this is one of the cases where it's like, technically they don't do anything without you, but they're also still insanely active, which just shows how good Santorin is right now in the first 15 minutes of the game.
Right, and I do love that point that you make, Crumbs, about his numbers, the gold differential and the XP differential, but still seeing the result in KDA and kill participation. If you looked on the other side of that full screen graphic, you saw really pretty numbers for Closer individually. You saw huge gold advantages and huge XP differentials, so probably, how do you expect these two styles to interact? Does it become even more disparate between the two? Which of these styles wins out?
I mean, well, it's hard to say because a lot of this is team focus, right? Santorin's getting the flashes out for his soul lanes, and then his soul lanes are punishing the lanes because they have no summoners now. Closer, on the other hand, is like, if you have a pushing lane, you can help me out, and I'm going to get ahead as the jungler. So a lot of his stats are really just him getting beefed up and then needing to perform later in the game. So it's kind of like Santorin's job is to do the early game really well, and Closer is like, do really well for yourself so you can carry later.
All right, there you have it, the tale of two junglers. This is a big matchup for Golden Guardians looking to turn their season around. Let's hand things over to Riv and Ezreal to get us into that matchup.
Thank you very much, Dash. I am Rivington Bison III, and I am joined by the Sage of Advice. It is the man himself, Isaac Ezreal Cummings Bentley, and he's about to drop some knowledge as we get into this game. I'm excited. We have the last few games of the day. Isaac, you are just running a marathon here, man. You've been doing great.
Yeah, man. Can't get enough. Just got to bring me back for some more League Legends.
Literal world champion stuff right here is what we're seeing. But as the analyst desk was saying, eyes on Golden Guardians here to kind of turn their season around. Immortals recently with that loss. Cloud9 lost, and they have 100 Thieves and TSM coming up, who are looking a bit. TSM's looking decent. 100 Thieves just got to win there. So they have their work cut out for them. We can say that. Also against FlyQuest, it's going to be tough as hell.
It's going to be a really tough stretch for Golden Guardians, and that's just kind of the reality. We're getting 3 weeks in here, more than halfway into the kind of first round robin of the split.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of tough teams, for Golden Guardians to actually beat. They have been going very heavily towards poke-comps in a lot of their games. They have at times been able to really find good fights early, to create good advantages early. I think Closer, someone who a lot of people are pointing to, including the guys on the analyst desk, about how good he can be and how he can create these individual leads, but it has not resulted in wins a lot of time. And here we are again, going back to the Ezreal. We have seen a couple of games of Ezreal already from FBI. It'll be interesting to see, do they go to the Nidalee and the Jayce and these types of picks alongside it again and try to really execute where they have been kind of falling short.
Right, remember they brought out that Nocturne too, which was pretty sweet. The Callista gets taken out along with a lot at FBI, so we see, as you said, that Ezreal coming in to make sure they can get us to a priority pick in the lane. Senna Graves as you. I'm excited to see that as well, to see how they play around it. Mash with 2 Aphelios and an Ezreal so far.
Yeah, Senna has really kind of fallen out of fashion. It is getting picked sometimes, but it's not a super popular pick anymore. Oftentimes when we are seeing it, it is alongside, essentially like a funneled type situation down in the bottom lane. People used to call it fasting Senna and that sort of style, where the Senna can be piloted by the marksman player, but oftentimes it is alongside someone else who is actually going to take that farming role. Have been seeing a lot of Senna plus melee still in solo queue. You can do things like the Tahm Senna and the Senna Tahm Kench and all that sort of style, but you can also go more aggressive options. I've seen Senna Set, I've seen Set of Wukong. You can take like a lot of different routes, so it's an interesting pick, and I'm excited to see where FlyQuest is going to kind of take us with that, because IgNar is someone who is so flexible, so I do think that it fits well with his sort of playstyle, because with some support players you might be a little bit worried, can they pilot a variety of champions? Are you pigeonholing yourself here? I don't think they are with IgNar, because he can pretty much play everything.
He has 4 unique plays in 5 games, right?
Yep.
Repeat on the Rakan so far, and that just tells you FlyQuest likes to engage. And already here they have a way to initiate fights and some damage behind that if they want. Golden Guardians looking at that global composition already, with the ability for Closer to be a bit of the initiator here. We're in second phase of bans as FlyQuest has their turn. 3 seconds left to figure out what they want to ban out. Could be top, and it looks like it is.
I like this first 3 from Golden Guardians. This feels like less poke and more, skirmish and engage, and I think that is something that they have looked better with. You pointed out the game that they played Nocturne. That was actually against Cloud9. Yes, it was a loss, but I still think it was actually their best played game.
Right.
And I do think having, the ability to kind of play that Cloud9-esque style, where you have a mid laner like TF, or you have, a jungler like Nocturne, you have this semi-global presence, and then you allow your teammates to play more aggressively. You try to push up, get in your opponent's face, and then look to use that semi-global and assist them, right? So Closer getting in the face of Santorin, all of a sudden Damonte ults in, and maybe you kill off that Graves, and that gives you an avenue of an attack. It gives you a very important cooldown to play around, and it's pretty straightforward stuff, so I'm excited to see if Golden Guardians can execute on it.
Final ban here from Golden Guardians, the Maokai.
Okay. So
Taking the tree out.
Yeah, taking the tree out, taking the set out. So those are the picks I think that they were expecting, not as top laners, but actually as the champions that would be farming alongside the Senna. Maokai is another one that I have seen played down there alongside the Senna. Even Maokai, just as a support, is getting some slight fringe popularity in solo queue. Ornn again, like this is interesting because you don't know, is that a farming Ornn alongside the Senna? Is that, Ornn top? There's
That's
still
true.
a little bit
it's
of
been
a
bit since
question
we've
mark
seen Ornn
there.
bot, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it has been, but it's been a minute since we've seen the Senna, right? And people
It's
really
true.
are playing mostly that fasting Senna style. I'm not expecting it to be a farming Senna. Generally speaking, people just find more success, with the non-stop harassment and picking souls up off the champions and not actually farming and just grabbing the souls that drop from the minions that you missed.
I'm actually a really big fan of Ornn support, especially once you get a few items. You can go into the turret with maybe a 3v2. You have so many places to knock up your opponents. They really cannot hide from you. So Would be a powerful pick. We see Jayce going on the other side as the time is ticking down.
Exactly, and you know, one of the weaknesses of if you're playing a true support role as Ornn is it takes so long to get to your items that you can upgrade. But if you're playing the farming Ornn, you can just go a standard Ornn build. You can just go for the Sunfire Cape and the Abyssal Mask and these types of items. It is going to be Jayce top, which is just kind of a generically strong top laner, whether it is against the Ornn or whether they flex something and put something else up there. You know, Hauntzer probably going to be pretty comfortable. Nautilus getting locked in would probably mean that is, you know, a farming Nautilus. If they go Blitz, it may actually be you know, a farming Senna, because I don't feel like Blitz is as powerful with gold when compared to a lot of the other champions. Like, your scaling with gold just isn't that important, honestly.
Oh, let's go.
So this could just be a farming Senna. You know, I know I spent a lot of time talking about the fasting Senna because that is what I've been seeing a lot of. I guess we'll just have to wait until we're in game and see, you know, are they going to give gold to the Blitzcrank? You can do some things like just building generically strong items on completion. Like, you can go Blitzcrank and farm on the Blitzcrank and just grab an early redemption or grab an early righteous glory and utilize that, you know, more for the utility and less for the individual kind of like power scaling there on the Blitzcrank. So that is an option, and honestly, I'm just really excited to see this one play out because, you know, Tahm Kench, while a bit of a snoozer champion individually, you know, does have semi-global presence also. So you have the TF, you have the Tahm Kench, you can move to side lanes. That can help to enable Jayce, who I think is going to be the main focus here for Golden Guardians in getting him ahead. So I think they have some clear power points there, and I'm excited to see if Golden Guardians can actually execute on that against FlyQuest, who has been a really strong team.
So is there anything we're going to have to see Santorin do on this Graves to make sure he can supplement damage if Senna's not, be more damage if the team can't provide it, right? What is he going to have to do anything different this game?
I mean, I think what he's really going to have to do is keep in mind, you know, all these globals that could come out, right? He has got to stay ahead of the Lee Sin. You want to be power farming, you want to be playing, you know, in your opponent's face and counter jungling, but that means you have to have accurate timers on things like the TF ult, like the Tahm Kench ult, because while you can win the 1v1 against the Lee Sin, you know, as long as you save the quick draw to actually dodge that resonating strike, you'll win that 1v1. You'll be able to chase him down with the phase rush. But if TF ult's in on your head and you just start giving over kills, you're going to fall behind and you're going to become useless. And
IgNar, no, it's a bait. Though, almost a little bait, but not really.
Very interesting. So it is Doran's Blade on Mash. So they're actually going to farm on Mash. And I'm really interested to see, you know, where he goes with this. You know, how exactly they do want to play it out. This is a lane with a lot of CC, so whether or not the Senna is farming, like, he should have less souls because he's actually farming the CS, and when you're farming, you have less time to actually, you know, spend nonstop just poking your opponents and farming souls off them. But if you can land a hook, you have hook into knockup, straight into the root will trigger usually out of that. If you have done it early, you know, there's a pretty good timing window for that. So that is a lot of CC. You have the slow as well from the Glacial Augment, so there is the ability to really lock people down and punish them pretty heavily.
Just run you out of lane. It's going to be tough once you get caught one time, right? So we'll see how they start. Coming down through the river. IgNar doing a good job with body shield. Pulling Tahm first. Remember, he has lick from level 1, so huhi is going to be trying to get in here with even more. Acquired taste, not too much applying here unless they can fully get it, and IgNar is going to back himself off. So, nice trade from FBI and huhi to say, hey, they're probably coming down from the blue area to make sure nothing's happening there. Let's take some damage on it.
Yeah, that was honestly really, really smart. And they even missed all the melee minions. So they missed not only the farm, but they missed the experience there too.
Good catch.
You know, they have a really good level 1. If you face check into that Tahm Kench and he can get stacks on you, it's very hard to actually deal with. You know, the Guardian was there too. FBI has a lot higher straight up DPS than a level 1 Senna does. So things looking very good in that regard. Santorin is down here on the bottom side. He has the sweeper, but he's already used it. So there's unlikely to really be a good gank path that he could go for unless, you know, FBI and huhi are really overextended.
See what Damonte can do on this one. This is going to be his third play on Twisted Fate.
Here comes
Closer has the lane gank already. Gold card comes out. This could be bad for PowerOfEvil, but puts himself very close to the wall for a quick escape. Does have to use both summoners on that.
Yeah, the Ghost seemed like a little bit of a panic, honestly. You know, after you actually, flash over the wall, I think he used Ghost right at the same time there. So maybe he was anticipating that they were going to flash follow and look to actually continue that up. And this is the risk of not playing Cleanse. You know, he is playing Spellbook, so he can swap over to Cleanse later. But when you are not playing Cleanse against TF, it's such easy gank setup, and that is one of the major reasons people love this pick right now. You can play something like Lee Sin that is skill shot reliant. You know, you need to land that Q, but guess what? It's pretty easy when they're gold carded to land that on a stationary target.
And it's crazy to think, right? If the gold card is over his head, I won't get caught by it. But time and time again, it seems to happen. Closer grabbing bottom scuttle. Looks like top just got grabbed off by Santorin here. So opposite sides of the map for our junglers as they try to trail each other. As the Scryer Bloom sees bottom, and Closer gets a little bit more information on this.
Yeah, there's not much for him to farm. But they are actually moving down the TF too. So I think they're trying to look for a 4-man dive. You know, they could use the Tahm Kench to actually start this up into tank. And yeah, they're going to go for it. We'll see if Solo wants to try to respond with the TP, but no jungler is down here.
Disappeared for a moment. They can still kind of see where they are. IgNar tries to get in front. Damage onto Mash. They're going to take him down first. IgNar grabs a minion. And that's going to be each member of Golden Guardians getting out safely here. PowerOfEvil is going to be able to push mid as that push bottom happens.
That was a great dive. I mean, they just actually pulled aggro with Damonte. He throws down the gold card. Then once he's taken a turret shot, Tahm Kench eats him up, resets that turret aggro, takes it off of him, and it's just a very easy kill over onto Mash, who also had to go back to base prior to the tier actually being completed. So not only is he down farm now, FBI was the one who got the kill. So this is just a really clean play, and FlyQuest was not prepared for it whatsoever. There was no TP response from the Ornn. Jungler's not in place to actually answer it. This was not even close to working. I think that was trying to be, an anticipated hook. IgNar was maybe trying to look for someone safeguarding out to that minion or something like that. But Golden Guardians, great early execution and putting their bot lane significantly ahead.
Super smart overall as well. At the beginning of that replay, we saw PowerOfEvil backing. So the lane was resetting. TF's 5. He's not going to port anywhere. It's safe, right? No, he walks bot lane, and he picked up all the minions on the way back, only 2 behind. So overall, Golden Guardians, like you were saying, set that up really, really well. Hauntzer versus Solo in that top lane, 35-41, as PowerOfEvil 1, 2, 3, keep stacking them up. He continues to get ganks on him here in this game and stays safe with the summoners down this time.
And you've also got to remember, that bottom lane dive basically started at level 1 with the forcing of flash on Mash, right? They kind of had this little river cheese where they got the flash off him. It wasn't back up for when he got dove. Maybe that's a little bit of a different play. Probably still goes down, but it's following up on the resources that have been taxed from your opponents, right? And that's something that you always love to see. When you get a cooldown out of your opponents, you need to return and punish them for that. Forcing a flash is worthless if you don't get an advantage while the flash is down. And that's something I'd also like to see them try to go back at PowerOfEvil, who still has his flash down for a couple minutes. You can return and try to attack PowerOfEvil with Closer and Damonte. Without that flash, he might go down.
Taking a long way around, IgNar has to head back to the lane. Blast cones over to keep himself safe. So ping goes on to the Drake for now. Golden Guardians just leaving FBI to solo farm down here, nice and easy with the Mystic shots, 48-38, and it could be the combo for Solo top, just 100 damage short on that port towards bot lane. Mash again is the focus, and they're trying to shut down the Senna Blitz lane right away. Just about 400 HP between both of them. It looks like they'll cut one down, but it's not going to be both, as that's the TP coming in. Shockwave in from PowerOfEvil, as he is almost able to trade back the kill, but there's just too much support and utility amongst the Golden Guardians crew.
Rinse and repeat, and again, Mash just barely didn't have his flash up. It came up during that play. Thankfully for him, he was able to escape, but IgNar did go down. As soon as they had the level 6 on Damonte, they set up this play once more. They pull the aggro, with that stun card. They reset it with the Tahm Kench. Rinse and repeat on that bottom side. They're really putting the FlyQuest bottom lane behind. Thankfully for them, Solo is doing work up on that top side. As far as I've seen, there hasn't been any ganks actually going up there, but he almost just solo killed Hauntzer. Got him incredibly low. I think honestly the fact that TF popped his ultimate did kind of save the Jayce, because it looked like once the ultimate got popped, Solo wasn't sure if it was coming to top lane or going bot lane. So he kind of hesitated a little bit there when perhaps he could have actually continued the dive and gotten that solo kill. So not only does Damonte execute on a kill on the bot side, he exerts a little bit of pressure because of kind of that fear of the TF ult on the top side that may have saved Hauntzer.
And you talked a little bit about this not being so much of a poke comp you think they would create, but more of a skirmish comp. And boy, are we seeing that already. Instant fights towards the bot lane, and with the ability to poke too, it leaves FlyQuest with little chance to be the one to set up at an objective. They do not want to be there with Fog of War around them. So Golden Guardians setting themselves up here, already 8 minutes in, very nicely.
Yeah, they're doing really well. They are up 1,000 gold. That is great. But that being said, you know, FlyQuest is still looking very stable in their solo lanes. The bottom lane is behind, but, you know, the farm isn't such a big lead on FBI by any means. The farm is very close, so there is those kills going over. It hasn't been really a big snowball of objectives or anything like that. So FlyQuest, with their scaling, I still think are feeling like pretty well within their comfort zone. You know, when you have Ornn winning that 1v1 against the Jayce, you're very happy. Graves scales great. Orianna scales great. And you know that there's going to be a lot of squishy members over on the side of Golden Guardians. So later on, you know, really any hook in a team fight could result in a kill, even if it's Tahm Kench.
Just short is huhi on finding Santorin. Looks like they'll be able to figure out he's there, though. Orianna not walking down. Damonte trying to ping that out. Is FlyQuest using this kind of bit of breathing room to get an advantage on some plates. Still slightly in the lead. Mash is going to keep himself safe here. It looks like they want to avoid all fights from here on out and just keep that vision up on bot side of the map. They have 2 pink wards that they can continue to protect, or at least on their side of the river for now. We'll see how much they can protect.
Yeah, and those pink wards along the river do help a lot. You know, deep vision, especially a ward over by that raptor pit, that is actually a really key area if you're playing against TF and your solo queue games. If he is moving towards bot side and he's playing on this side of the map, having a ward around that raptor area, that is almost always where they will walk past to try to ult towards that bottom lane, because you have got to track TF. You have to know when he is leaving lane, when he is cheating towards your side, because you can't, like, anytime he's off the map, you want to play defensive, but if you just do that to so much of an extreme, if you just basically act as though TF can be everywhere at all times, your lanes just passively lose. So it's important to actually get that knowledge and get it confirmed.
Right here, you can see PowerOfEvil.
There you go.
Literally taking a turret shot just to make sure he wasn't roaming around to port somewhere. Good explanation, seeing it on screen as it happens. So we got 2 minutes for the Infernal. Looks like, well, there are no setup just yet. We'll see where they both go for mid here. huhi is following towards mid, so I feel like he's going to put up wards off of this before he roams back down to FBI, who again, they leave solo, and he's doing perfectly fine. They've kind of put the fear in FlyQuest so much that, yeah, they'll roam as well, but let's just not try to go on MASH because they'll be here in 2 seconds with teleports and TF gates.
Yeah, TF has the ultimate back again. Roa is completed, stopwatch is ready, so the playmaking is there. They do have to respect the fact that Solo does have TP, you know, could look to try to answer that, and, you know, is going to be some very strong hard engage if Solo does make his way down here. You know, he's sitting at a pretty strong point of the game, but FlyQuest are kind of just slowing it down, looking to farm. They know they have the more reliable engage. You know, come team fight time, I think they're going to be feeling really, really confident about their ability to win in that straight up 5v5, especially because Solo is doing so well. You know, while you have been trying to snowball bot, it hasn't really resulted in any big advantages. They've actually lost more turret plates in that bottom lane. They're not really ahead much of any farm, so, you know, FBI and huhi aren't making much of that advantage.
Oh, do they bait him in? Ornn there. Oh, I like the hit back before he got stunned. Doesn't hit anybody, though. Solo trying to play it tricky here, but it looks like he will fall, and they'll give it up to Damonte. Everybody's getting a piece of this one, as now they will be able to push the top side of the map. 30 seconds onto that Infernal. We'll see if they just leave someone here and close their heads down to the bot side.
They have the Rift Herald also, so they could actually drop Herald and just try to go for first turret if they do want. I think that may be the call. You know, I was just talking about how Hauntzer isn't really ahead, and if you don't want to win in team fights, if you don't think you can win in team fights, then you've got to be able to have a side lane advantage, somewhere that you can play through, you know, utilizing this Jayce and TF. So I do think it's going to be about the 1-3-1. Getting Hauntzer ahead here with the gold in his pockets is going to be helpful, but Damonte could be in some trouble.
Oh, you can see how bad FlyQuest wants it right now. Every last drop for Damonte there in mid. Oh, IgNar! Oh my god, the flash from Damonte! You gotta be kidding! The thumbs up, baby! IgNar with the fast fingers, but Damonte even faster.
I love that from IgNar. That is some confidence. Just a flash over the wall there, and now they are on this dragon, but in goes Closer.
Closer's confidence as well, and it looks like that may close the deal for IgNar here as he is left. Overdrive could get him out of this one. Honk, honk. Nope, he goes down. It's going to be huhi trying to push forward onto Mash. Gets the flash out of the Senna, and that is going to be the Cloud's quickening. We have third Drake Cloud 2 now going over to Golden Guardians, and they, as I was looking at their compositions that they have been running, Ezreal, a lot of this global pressure. The Nocturne, the TF, they run a bit of Ornn for quasi-global. They're loving being able to control the maps.
Yeah, they really are, and that was a good job by Golden Guardians to actually get over there, still contest that dragon. They have made a play up towards the top side. They got first turret. They were able to get there in time to still push Santorin off the dragon and secure that, for the squad. So, grabbing that second early dragon always, I think, is a big factor when you are playing more of the early game comp, because you can start to stack that. You can threaten that win condition of having a soul, and that can be the difference, getting those early dragons between forcing your opponents to 5v5 you at a time where they are not ready, or giving them the extra 5-10 minutes to get their items and get to a point where you can no longer win.
See what the next setup is. 3 plates on mid and bot for Golden Guardians. Nothing on the top side here, as Solo is just kind of farming these waves as they come pushed in from Hauntzer. Teleports up. Ooh, there's a nice grab coming in onto huhi. Shockwave back, quite a bit used onto him, but they do want to stop the map movement for Golden Guardians a little bit, and that will help.
Yep, just going to take him off the map for a little bit. They do take him down, grab a kill for Santorin, which is always nice. And, I don't mind committing those ults for just the support at this point, because there's not any objective that you're about to go to. And now we're going to see, can he Mad Life it? Nope. Predicting that he would juke back into it, but not quite reading him correctly. But yeah, it's like if there's a dragon that's about to be up and you're going to fight for it and you commit all that stuff to kill Tahm Kench, okay, that's pretty questionable. But they are kind of making the bet that their ults are going to be back and ready by the time they need to actually fight.
Looks like they're actually pushing to hover around that pixel brush right now. Closer and huhi hip and hip as they move in. Maybe they just know there's a lot of pink wards here and they want this vision back. Scuttle as well. Could be that love. As huhi goes forward. Wow, oh my word, they all just keep popping out of the ground. What is this? There's no members of Golden Guardians, and then there was 4. I think I blinked just once.
Yeah, they're in trouble now here too. Mash could actually get dove, theoretically. They are just going to try to back it off, though, as they saw
FBI.
PowerOfEvil was roaming over. But nice little play, as Santorin wanted to grab the scuttle, but they didn't have the control for him to really safely go for that. And again, you have got to remember the TF ultimate. This is what, you asked me about. It's like, what does Graves have to keep in mind? Well, that's what I was talking about. You've got to keep the TF ultimate in mind. You can't just be farming. You can't just be farming like that in the middle of the map without your teammates around and with the TF ult up. So he gives over an easy kill, and that is also going to give Golden Guardians the time to move over here and turn that into a Rift Herald also.
And things are happening so fast here for FlyQuest right now. It's probably hard to figure out when those windows are. Yeah, they know about Damonte. A few more teleports are coming up in just half of that time. So it's going to be really tough to know when, again, they can teleport into a situation like that. PowerOfEvil still pressuring forward. They know they need to get this outer line of turrets down to move the wards forward and have a little bit more control over the fights on objectives. IgNar and Mash still farming their hearts out here, now down by about 20 CS, or I'm sorry, 10 or 11 CS as I recount. We have 3-0-1 here for FBI on the Ezreal, and they banned him out for 3 marksmen right off the bat.
But going to be feeling really comfortable on that Ezreal. He has no problem playing that. And with those 3 early kills, he's going to be at that 2-item power spike so incredibly fast. I talked about grabbing that 3rd dragon, how usually teams do want to try to fight at that. I think FlyQuest would want to prevent putting them on soul point this early. But if Ezreal is sitting on 2 items, at 16, 17 minutes and is ready for that dragon fight, it's like, well, I don't know. Do you even want to take it? You've got 2 items on the jungler. Hauntzer could potentially finish another item before this. So Golden Guardians is going to be ridiculously strong for this fight, and I'm not sure, if FlyQuest is going to be in a position to win it.
So it's 1 shockwave, 1 grab, right? It's like the Captain Flowers call. So you only need 1. Which one can it be, though? I feel like at this point it's like 1 or 2 because of where we are in the game and where the minion waves need to be pushed. So you have some time. It's just looking like that window for a grab is smaller and smaller. Even if they are grabbing Golden Guardians, retaliation coming from them is just shock and awe. Here they're going to push mid with the second Rift Herald. They were able to get both in the game, and every Drake so far as they move down for what will be Drake number 3.
Yep, and they actually just used that Rift Herald to make FlyQuest respect the mid lane push. All of FlyQuest had to roam over, and guess where Golden Guardians are? They're on the Dragon. And now it's uncontestable. You can't actually move over here because it's just going to be gone before you even get there. So Golden Guardians uses the Rift Herald to avoid even having a fight over by that. And checking in on Mash, he's now at 29 stacks at 18 minutes, so not too many souls. Does have his first range upgrade, but it is a fair bit slower than you probably expect from someone playing more the support Senna style, especially against the Tahm Kench, who's a champion that you can oftentimes really kind of farm those souls off pretty effectively.
I like the rally there, Ezreal. FlyQuest was like, all 5 mid turret, quickly back. Hauntzer's like, I'll just farm Bob, but I like it. FlyQuest was definitely in need of a bit of global gold and pressure off the map, so they call the executive order to crush mid turret. And
Ooh,
now
I like this.
4K gold behind.
This is like the Jat special. Jat used to love playing Senna and love doing this, where he would just kind of follow around his jungler a lot and actually pick up the Senna stacks. Mash went over and actually grabbed the stacks from the red buff, but he did not pick the ones up off those golems. It actually can be a lot of stacks out of the jungle, so it is something that's pretty effective if you don't have something better to do. Sometimes just following your jungler around for a clear and picking up all the souls there can be a really good way to escalate that. Oh, nice devour by huhi, saving Damonte.
Nice dodge. They get themselves to safety, knowing the rocket grab is down may give them a little bit of safety and movement. It doesn't look like they'll use it, though, as they back off. Not enough forward wards. And we will still see FlyQuest getting resources and putting themselves back up to reset for that fight. I like what you were saying there, as we see him kind of farming it out, and then he was just like, oh, TF gate, I don't want to go back in the jungle for those. It's just
That's scary, man.
So scary right now for them to be on the map trying to do that.
And bad goes to worse if you give over too many of these Cloud Dragons as really aggressive trade here. Could be oh, nice devour.
He's so good right now, huhi, but he's still lose FBI on Golden Guardian's side. huhi tries to save him. And we have a fight towards the bot lane, just a back and forth. The solo hit a good volcanic eruption onto Hauntzer with that charge. And now it looks like Matt or FBI will be dead for the first time. A slight bounty picked up. It doesn't look like it's something that will change the game all too much here. 5-2 currently in kills, 2-1 in turrets. We'll have to see where FlyQuest may want to put their next kind of strength here.
Yeah, it was a really nice shutdown, though. Another kill going to Santorin. And I think that FBI and huhi just kind of underestimated how much damage and follow-up there would be. Feeling like, okay, I'm going to devour you when you get hooked. That's going to keep you safe. But,
Almost.
Still get him? Okay.
That brittle would probably be real close, but it's not going to be. Not even close, baby. That's what they say. But yeah, close enough. Ezreal, does it pain you when that's missed and you have shown these people how to do that?
It's a lot harder to do it on a moving Jayce than it is on a target dummy, to be fair. But, we'll say I would have nailed that every time. Of course I wouldn't. It's one of those situations where if he lands that searing charge, he probably does get that kill. Still, it's a great trade from Solo. Solo has actually been winning this matchup, pretty well in the 1v1. He has been doing an admirable job there. And I mean, end of the day, you used your ultimate and you got Hauntzer's flash without actually forcing your flash out. So now the Jayce is going to have a lot less side lane pressure. He's got to be worried about any potential kills on him next time that ultimate is up. So well done by Solo, despite not actually being able to pick up that kill.
Abyssal Voyage. Ooh, to the right side. Closer is a little off on the edge of this fight. I think that's why they decided to pull off. And it looks like mid lane could be a turret. All 5 of the FlyQuest members now putting themselves towards mid lane with a bit of a cannon wave. Do they have not enough damage to get it through here? That flash from IgNar coming in on... what is that Hex Flash every so often is definitely keeping them back from these turrets.
Yeah, and really FlyQuest is trying to focus on defending this mid lane turret. They don't want PowerOfEvil to kind of lose his bastion of safety there in the mid lane where he has been farming. And that Hex Flash is a nice little move, right? It's IgNar threatening that hook so that FBI doesn't have confidence to actually step forward and auto the turret after having W'd it. Because when you have that W up and you get the Sheen auto off on the turret, it's a tremendous amount of damage, right? It's, then very close to actually being knocked down. So he's just trying to zone. He starts charging up that Hex Flash, says you've got to respect this or you could get hooked and die. So they create a little bit of pressure there and are able to defend their turret as a result. That's going to make it much easier for them to control this whole area and have access to the Dragon Pit, which is important because guess what? It is soul time here for Golden Guardians in 15 seconds. This is a fight they really want to win. If they can grab this soul, it would be huge for them.
Ooh. Good cross damage, about 1,000 across the FlyQuest team. They'll heal that up quite quickly though. FBI toying with Solo and a
Damonte's
searing charge.
Splitting. So I think they're just going to try to steal this and keep sending Damonte for the base. If they could just even delay this take, really go for it. Oh! That was close.
I like to try, but now can they stop the backs? There's going to be no chase. It might look like Hauntzer's trying to fire a blast or shock blast in here, but they'll lose an inhibitor turret on the side of FlyQuest as Damonte continues to push top. Inhibitor turret's open there, so now they can start to open up a little bit more with the split push here and have Damonte wreak havoc on multiple lanes.
Yeah, you can tell how worried they are about the 5v5. You know, despite the fact that they have a gold lead and 3 dragons to 0 going into that, they weren't actually willing to commit to just a straight up fight, right? They feel like, okay, a lot of the key items are completed now for PowerOfEvil. PowerOfEvil already had an upgraded death cap from Ornn. There's 2 items on Graves. Ornn has his double upgraded items. So they're saying we actually probably lose this 5v5 right now. So instead, go for the steal from Closer. Try to get something guaranteed up on that top side. So they've opened up the base. And that was honestly really close. I mean, Closer didn't get his smite off, but he was in the pit at the right time. And that very easily could have been a steal and them really getting everything.
Could have been Closer? Yeah, something like that.
Could have been Closer for Closer.
There you go. Baron is up, tempting both teams. Right now, Golden Guardians can just use that as a quick trap for FlyQuest. And here they're setting up one. Closer's going to be the man in front to try and jump over and help Hauntzer out if he looks like he gets caught out to dry. So they decide to back off of that one. It's just really trying to get the picks on FlyQuest right now. You have gold cards, you have a few things that can catch people, so as soon as you see one out of place, call out Damonte and he will be there.
Yep, we would love for him to be able to join to those side lanes, and as you rank up your ultimate, you know, you can ult further, so you know there is more ability to make those cross map plays. It is interesting though that Hauntzer has kind of committed much more to this lethality build, because if you're going for this build, it generally is saying, hey, I want to actually group and poke, and that's how we're gonna look to play out the game. But he's not really grouping at all. You know, he's just kind of playing more committed to that side lane. And if you're going to commit to the split push anyway, if you don't actually intend to group and look for the poke and then the following 5v5, then you should just go for more of a 1v1 style build, you know, against that Ornn. You can go things like Blade of the Rune King into a Black Cleaver and, you know, a Lord Dominix and be way more effective in that 1v1. So is an interesting choice here from Hauntzer. We'll see if he can make it work if he does group later on. Oh,
He's on
there you
flank.
go. Nice shock blast.
Yeah, going to be seen by a ward right now. And PowerOfEvil is going to rethink this one real quick. True Shot Barrage. Right by. I felt the wind on that one.
That was Seraph's actually popped, so I'm not sure if it hit PowerOfEvil and got absorbed, or PowerOfEvil just got nervous that it might hit him and kill him. Either way, he did actually pop that, so that cooldown is down. And looks like he's going to be working towards Leandries now. So going for a very high DPS build here on the Orianna. He always is kind of that wing condition, it feels like, for the team.
Yep.
You know, Mash is not going to be carrying a lot of the heavy lifting here in these late game team fights, as they do just kind of use that ult for disengage again. They're trying to keep their mid lane turret safe. That is so important for them. Damonte is threatening the top lane inhibitor, but just going to ult out.
Yeah, we saw Hauntzer as well, just playing in the fog of war there. Hitting FlyQuest with Shock Blast after Shock Blast. IgNar doing a nice job at denying that. Is True Shot Barrage back up for Golden Guardians. Hauntzer is back in the bot lane and really just waiting to see if Damonte can get away from what would be a mid lane fight to get back into top and re-push. There's a method to this madness, but it seems like FlyQuest is shutting them down a little bit here and there. FlyQuest is able to get another turret, and it's slowly going in their favor.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, FlyQuest is doing a really good job keeping their mid lane turret alive. It's so important because this game is going to be decided
At
largely around
all
objectives.
costs.
But, you know, but that being said, they are falling further and further behind on gold because of it, right? You know, you commit a ton of your resources and members to actually defend there in mid lane. Well, you're going to lose minions bot. You're going to lose minions top. Hauntzer actually just killed the tier 2 off bot, you know, extending the gold lead. And they're up near a 5,000 gold lead at this point, which is quite significant. Yes, the Ornn items are really kind of evening out a lot of that. But it is something that they do have to be concerned about, right? You know, this is a game that can be ended through 1-3-1 shenanigans, and if you lose too many inhibitor towers, if you lose too much of that kind of security in your base in the side lanes, then you might never even get that 5v5. It could just be a hard commit to split push from Hauntzer and Damonte and looking to backdoor it in the game.
Yeah, it's becoming overwhelming for FlyQuest. Too many things to react to. They need to find a way to set the pace of the game in their favor. So Golden Guardians is reacting to FlyQuest.
Well,
Right
looks
now,
like they
GG
might be able to
spitting
get
out
their
damage.
5v5 because, you know, both teams are grouped here, and it is going to be Soul Point again. So FlyQuest might actually get that opportunity to be the proactive team and look for the engage here, Riv.
Closer tried to go in for, I think, a quick kick on somebody, but got hit back. Let's see who gets hit up. Gray health, obviously, for Tahm Kench. Not going to be able to use it, and he goes down immediately. IgNar's pretty low, and here comes a shield from the rest of the team. They're going to be pretty safe as FlyQuest moves now down towards the Drake, trying to stop Soul here. This will be huge if they can shut down Golden Guardians. Now 28.5 minutes into the game. FlyQuest have had their backs against the wall, and they will start up the objective to get Drake number 2. Does pressure from Golden Guardians now go towards mid as well? It looks like they're going to try to stop minions on this one. No, get the inhibitor. It looks like Damonte is going all the way for the base.
Yeah, he's just ulting towards top lane. They got the mid tier 1. They're going to get the mid tier 2 potentially. Can't see how low it is, but they're actually
Ezreal.
taking down Damonte.
It's going to be a 1v1. Solo loves these. Damonte with the dodge on the volcanic rupture. Fancy feet. He's doing the tango, and it takes 2. Damonte gets out alive.
FlyQuest do grab the dragon, though. Again, Closer's unable to actually get in there to try to steal it. But, you know, once they got that pick on huhi, there was no chance of taking that 5v5. And it just looks like, in general, FlyQuest is going to run the 5v5 all game long. It's very hard to actually burst down someone on FlyQuest when you have the Orianna shield with all the AP behind it, plus Mash with the healing there. You know, the ultimate coming across from Senna is going to be additional shielding. So it's tough to actually burst through all of that. And you know, FlyQuest has such a formidable 5v5, and while we are seeing Golden Guardians like play the map well and you know, and kind of spread it out and take towers, there's no more outers to grab. So we'll see if they can actually have an opportunity to really deal more of a death blow and knock down some of these inhibitors. Because if it just continues to stay as it is, I do think that FlyQuest are getting more and more into a winning position, where I think they're getting close to the point where they're confident that they could actually just go towards something like a Baron and say, all right, come and fight us, or we take this.
I think it can happen soon. A lot of pink wards in both inventories. Make sure we know that intent is to keep placing them forward and fight with those wards. Solo clears up what is the last of this cannon wave before he meets Hauntzer in lane. Or actually, he's going to head off of this one. Let's see if teleports are up around. Mash has Hauntzer, Damonte, FDI. So definitely a lot of movement can come from Golden Guardians. This FlyQuest as well be seeing Damonte top now. Hauntzer soon in the bot lane for the first 1-3-1.
Just another check-in here on the Senna. 54 stacks there at 30 minutes, so closing in on that third range upgrade. You know, Senna obviously scaling very well with that. You get the AD every stack, you get the additional range every 20, and you know, getting that additional range makes it so much easier to have consistent damage output in these team fights, because you know, it's just a lot safer when you are kind of sitting a bit further back and kind of can get access to some of these champions without putting yourself in that engage range.
Think how things slow down in games like this. You see, Golden Guardians is kind of just going through the motions. Obviously, they have to get their minions up right now to figure out how they can get a good fight and execute on the board. But as you get a team that's so far ahead by gold, and then you actually still need these dominoes in place before you can make it happen against FlyQuest. FlyQuest is doing a good job at knocking everything down, not letting too much get set up. I wonder how these fights are going to happen once we see Golden Guardians have to be choked into that base gate. Obviously, they'll be trying to split themselves between lanes, but FlyQuest does have a team that's starting to go forward now.
Yeah, I mean, I actually feel like the game is going more in the favor of FlyQuest, you know, over his last 10 minutes. Yes, they are still far down in gold, but, you know, they have now gotten the last 2 dragons. You know, if they get the next dragon, they are then on Soul Point, and you're at the point where maybe you're forcing Golden Guardians to come to you, like it or not. Golden Guardians has been trying to just, okay, they go to dragon, we go elsewhere, we take objectives. But it's at the point where, you know, basically it has to be an inhibitor or it's nothing, because, you know, there's not much as far as easy objectives to grab on the map for Golden Guardians anymore.
Solo's a beast, level 17 too, making sure he can get that CS, making sure he can help his team out, has upgraded a lot of items. Rooted onto Damonte as he gets himself out safe, but the Ornn comes back now. Closer tries to get in for a quick kick, and it's going to be on PowerOfEvil, but he gets himself out safe as Closer now trying to save that Guardian Angel, but Santorin on his heels. The rest of FlyQuest moving forward as the tanks are in front. Let's see how the fight continues as Golden Guardians dashes to safety to try and rebuttal. Now they assess how they can attack FlyQuest, and this is going to be a shockwave from PowerOfEvil. He's waited so long to use it. Can they follow up on this? The end of the line, and yes, it is for Hauntzer as he goes down. FlyQuest is dancing these out perfectly and finds the advantage on Golden Guardians.
That was such a big shockwave there from PowerOfEvil. Looked like Golden Guardians were going to be able to turn around the fight because despite the fact that Closer had gotten really low and multiple members had gotten really low, the Ezreal and the Jayce were still very healthy and had a tremendous amount of poke that they were looking to return. But as they step forward, they lost track of that Orianna ball. PowerOfEvil catches them, and it allows Santorin to flash in for that kill on Hauntzer, winning them the team fight.
Sort of like deja vu with Santorin just going down there, backing up, going down there, fighting somebody, and then he finally comes up with that kill. He wanted it, and we have seen FlyQuest kind of chasing these kills all game, not pushing themselves over the line to get them, but they were looking for Damonte mid all game. They've been looking for other kills, and finally they get a few, and the team is really coming online.
Yep, and they're just going to move right towards this dragon, looking for their third dragon. So their ultimate cooldowns are going to get so low now. FlyQuest will be sitting on 3 of those. Damonte, again, going to look for the back door. He's just ulting straight in the base, so this should be an inhibitor take.
Ooh. Oh, the steal! Oh, he got it! He got Soul Drake. Closer, can he make it out? He safeguarded to himself, but the team is drawn away. They have to get to the base. Damonte's just going to take the inhibitor, so actually no resulting fight here as FlyQuest is trying to get their waves in position, at least in mid, and make sure no more base damage happens. Golden Guardians now playing the game of cat and mouse, knowing the fights aren't going their way.
Yeah, they needed that so badly. If you give over that dragon, put FlyQuest at soul point when you can't win those team fights, that is so big for them. But instead, Closer just steals this one away. It felt like there was a little bit of panic from FlyQuest. It looked like a lot of the FlyQuest members were moving away from the dragon before it was dead because they were panicking about the fact that Damonte was in the base. And I'm not sure if we're going to get a replay, but it's one of those situations where FlyQuest should have been able to actually zone out the Lee Sin, keep him away, deny any potential steal, and set up the soul point for themselves. Instead, this split push creates this kind of era of panic where people are like, crap, I gotta get back to the base, and they forget about the Lee Sin. They end up losing that soul, which is going to be really nice for Golden Guardians.
What a play. And you can see that he came from Fog of War down there as he came around Tribrush, so they only see him at the last second. And thank you very much, he says. Closer making it happen. And he's been on the radar for quite a while, making these impact plays and showing up. Can Golden Guardians finish this out, though? That is teamwork here, and we're trying to see if they can take down FlyQuest, the team that sits atop the table still. And we see why, right? FlyQuest here finding late game fights where they're behind 5K or more, and they're still finding ways to make this look like Golden Guardians is in an even game.
Yeah, I mean, they're being very resilient, and they kind of drafted for this powerful team fight, and that's what they're looking to play around. They have better engage than Golden Guardians. They have better 5v5, better frontliners, but Golden Guardians is trying to play towards their win conditions. Get out to the side lane. They're trying to utilize the Jayce and the TF together now to try to pick off Solo. If you can get this 2v1 kill onto Solo, then all of a sudden you can just crack the base. You can peel apart FlyQuest, and they've got to try to find their moment to do it. Also, if FlyQuest overcommits too many members to deal with that Jayce and TF, then, well, guess what? The other 3 can try to start up Baron and see if they can actually look for something there.
Felt that damage. Pain. Still have 2.5 minutes on the inhibitor on the bot side. They are chipping away at Solo. I'm sorry, top side inhibitor. As they chip away at Solo. IgNar close to going down. It could be one final shot. Senna shot coming through to get that shield on the side, and it looks like they'll be able to get a nice Ornn, and the return damage going in. PowerOfEvil with that dissonance follow-up was huge, so he's starting to spit out the damage.
Yeah, I mean, he is on 4 full items, really, really strong at this point. And I've also got to give some credit to Solo. I think this is honestly a pretty big brain build. He went for the Warmog's 3rd, and that just means it's like, okay, well, Jayce and TF, they're trying to poke you down. So you can actually just walk up, tank all of their damage, wave clear, and then sure, they do 20, 30, 40% of your health, but you back off and you wait for the next wave and you're full health again with the Warmogs. He also went Locket, so when it comes to the 5v5, he doesn't need additional tankiness, honestly. He doesn't need a Stone Plate.
Right.
The only way they lose is his teammates getting burst down. Locket helps prevent that, so Solo is itemized so intelligently, and FlyQuest are threatening the Baron. They get the TP out. They get actually double TP out here, so they're just going to back off.
Let's see if huhi Abyssal Voyages too. He's trying to sprint out of base. And that Locket for Solo is actually purchased pretty soon, right after he got his first few items. So he was thinking these fights are going to happen. Now I have been in the side lane by myself, and we have seen that Locket coming into play very big. So doing quite a bit from the top to also support the team throughout these fights. A big pickup here for FlyQuest coming into the Summer Split for Solo.
I mean, honestly, I just don't see how Jayce and TF ever kill him with the Warmogs. The only way you're ever going to kill him is if you got him low and then dove him once he's already low. When you're sitting at full health with the Warmogs, good luck. And he can constantly trade out his health to just, you know, clear the wave and then back off. And I think this is a really, really smart adaptation. You know, far too many players just kind of go on autopilot and they just do the same build every time. They do their Abyssal, their Sunfire, then they get a Stone Plate, and you know that's kind of the route that they do play. So smart stuff from Solo. You know, showing one of the reasons why they have kind of gone with him as their starter. He did look better with them in playoffs, I think, than Viper, and he has been playing pretty admirably so far in the Summer Split.
You know, looking at that fact that we have Cloud Soul on the map, and then looking at PowerOfEvil CS on Orianna, he has been running from lane to lane. He has Event Horizon Damonte. No wonder he's zeroing out people with a Shockwave Dissonance. Can they get to Baron, though? That's the question. As we look up from the inventory to see the objective is down at half HP. IgNar's Rocket Grab is now on cooldown, giving huhi and the team a little bit more room to work with. TF is on the bot side of the map, but you can see Damonte shuffling back and forth to see if he needs to gate in for help. If Solo crosses a ward, Damonte is going straight for that turret. huhi and the team doing a nice job at trying to keep this one still at half HP and not letting it heal, but this is one hell of a dance where they are not actually doing anything, Isaac. I'm impressed by this. Minion waves are crashing into each lane for FlyQuest. They have to make a choice, and that choice was to eat a Shock Blast. They back off.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was actually pretty smart what Golden Guardians was doing.
Right.
You have the Death Dance and the Blade of the Rune King on Ezreal, so he can basically just tank the Baron, not worried too much about taking damage at that point. And he's just trying to make them send too many members to the Baron so that his solo laners can crack the base. But FlyQuest doesn't really take the bait. They don't overcommit. They keep Solo close enough so that he can actually respond. He cleared out the bottom wave, moved over towards mid lane, so he could either go to the Baron or back to that bottom wave. And Solo is just not panicking. He's handling this really, really well. And now it is going to be Elder time. So there is that potential of objective trade. Oh, nice hook.
Oh, right after he spit out the opponent of his, I'm sorry, his teammate, gonna lose one there. huhi goes down, and that looks like they're also gonna lose Closer here in a moment. He may be able to get a kill for himself as the kick
Damonte
comes
in the base.
up. Getting discombobulated in that fight, and now Damonte is going to be taking the top inhibitor once again. You can't blink. He's going to be there, but they're going to try to chase him down. The flash comes out, and he is going to go zooming up that top side. Maybe stay for a moment. If you see Solo leave, he'll keep that lane pressure on.
With Closer and huhi dead, though, that is free Elder. You take the Elder, and now he might actually just be dead.
They know he stays. They're like, it's Damonte. Of course he's going to stay. Look at that move. Sending Tribute out, and it looks like Solo could be by himself now as they lose IgNar, and this turns into a really sore situation for FlyQuest. Solo's able to flash to keep himself alive. PowerOfEvil's here, and they know how much damage he can do. He backs off, and so does the rest of FlyQuest. They're going to be able to grab another Drake, or Elder for themselves, rather, as we now move on.
Yeah, good job from Hauntzer actually to rotate up towards that top side to save Damonte and allow them to trade a kill back. But with Elder over on FlyQuest, they have such an advantage around that Baron pit now, and still it's never been anything more than just that top lane inhibitor going the way of Golden Guardians. They keep going back to it, but they haven't gotten an opportunity to really get to those Nexus turrets, to get to the other inhibitors. FlyQuest has been too stalwart around the base. You can see the gold is closing, and when you add in all the value from those extra Ornn items, really FlyQuest is just ahead in combat power at this point. You know, depending on how much value you want to place on the Cloud Soul, that is something working for Golden Guardians, but they've honestly lost a couple games this split. At least one, if not two, where they had Soul. The game against Team Liquid, they had Soul and they lost, and I want to say there was maybe one other. So Golden Guardians has not had the best record when getting Soul, because they often index for these really kind of like hard to execute early game teams that don't really team fight very well, and they're just not able to close out the game a lot of the time. And again, now it's Damonte. They're actually going 5-man bot. They're actually going to just try to commit to this bot lane potentially, but it's going to be a Baron recall soon.
Ornn comes out. They're not going to be able to get that one off, and it looks like they save Solo for only a moment. Mash is there alone, and yes, they're going to chase the Ezreal in. Hauntzer goes hammer for him, which means he can't do too much damage. It's going to be traded back by Mash, but he's on the center, and it's going to be a Q forward on the fountain, not healing too much because he's not into the first step, and that's going to be the Zanya's keeping him actually dead, if you will. That's the shutdown you can see on your screen, as now it's the bot inhib going down. The pressure has been on, and FlyQuest finally cracked a little bit more.
That was actually so smart from Golden Guardians. I mean, they recognize there's no way we can actually do this with just 2. We can't fight them with the Elder at Baron anyway, so maybe leave Closer over there, pray for a steal, but they actually Tahm Kench ult the Ezreal down there. They have 4 members showing up all of a sudden, diving Solo, taking him down. Mash TP's in to try to save him. He dies too, so now it's 2 inhibitors down, and yes, you still can't 5v5, but if you can avoid them, more of the base is open, but huhi now, no flash. He's going to be gone.
Ooh, Santorin comes flying in. Beautiful job by IgNar. We have to remember that new Blitz update definitely ignores his shield, so bye-bye. That's some big damage coming in from the Static Shock. IgNar feeling good about kind of picking himself back up there with a kill, as he's been hitting some hooks, but also missing. Playing a lot of that aggressive game with the flash, and he has been helping the team through that. You don't always have to hit the hooks. Look at it. Now he's just showing off.
True. Nailed that Scuttle. Scuttle can actually have some pretty good jukes, though, to be fair.
Yes.
I've missed a skill shot or 2 in my time on the
You definitely get the teammate emotes out of that one.
The question mark pings all start coming out. You're like, it's not my fault.
Blitz.
It dodged.
No objectives for now, so a minute and a half onto the Baron buff to wear off. 3 minutes for our Elder Drake, and still very much safe in the way of outer turrets for Golden Guardian.
Yeah.
But that means gold for FlyQuest. I don't really know what they're going to do with that gold after basically having full pockets, but full build now for PowerOfEvil. Elixirs are going to be what he's chugging down. Mash did have a stopwatch in the previous fight, but now he has a BF sword. Yeah, Mash. And a few others. Stopwatch on Santorin, so another item there possibly.
Yep, these guys can finish out their full item builds. You can go back for more ideal setups for the late game or swap things out. But it's going to be the same game plan. Golden Guardian's just going to be looking to split, to try to avoid fights, to try to delay FlyQuest and just peel apart the base. And now, I mean, they have the bot and the top open. So, with those 2 inhibitors down, it does get a lot more difficult. You can't just have Solo safely parked under a turret wave clearing bot. This is going to be more of a difficult situation to navigate, because FlyQuest knows if they can ever get a 5v5, they're going to win. But Golden Guardian's objective is to just never give them that fight, to always avoid them, to use the Tahm Kench ultimate and the TF ultimate and the Jayce split push to just fly into the base and threaten to close. And that makes it really, really hard for FlyQuest, because if you're trapped in that base and you can never actually feel like you can move out and look for that engage, the game just kind of continues to extend and extend.
Top inhibitor coming back up. A little bit of relief here for PowerOfEvil and team, as they now use these minion waves to at least get them off their half of the map. If they can get past river, it'll feel very nice to at least fight in their own jungle, having vision that works for them. Golden Guardians trying to own the bottom side of the half with the map objective free for now. They can work this bottom inhibitor minion wave in, so they can try to do the last bit of damage on mid and top once again. It's slow going here. It's interesting because what needs to happen at this point in the game for both teams, and they know. So it's all about who makes that mistake. It isn't who got the lead earlier, this or that. The game's even now, basically. Yeah. Inhibitor's down. You can say it's not even. Sure, that sounded weird, but either way, a big fight, and they're on the other side of the map to the Nexus.
Yeah, I mean, it's just 2 teams with very different objectives, with very different strengths and weaknesses, and you kind of know how each team wants to win, as you say, and that makes it a very kind of clear-cut way to play out the game, and it's just who can execute better. It's very easy to make split-second decisions that go right or wrong in these split push. They're going for Solo again. 4 members here.
Oh, taking down the biggest one. They chip away. Have they brought the right tools? The shield goes out onto him. The heals go out onto him, and the Destiny's going to wear off. Solo stays alive, but he gets back into the fight, but put down a Rupture and a slow.
PowerOfEvil's dead.
And top lane is going down quick. Damonte and Hauntzer are going in fast, as that was going to be a gate towards the top. I was wondering where it might have been, and my eyes didn't catch it, but now it is. Golden Guardian starting to fall as FlyQuest start to bite back. FBI is getting pushed out of the base. Solo's only got 1 shot left. Can FBI come in big? He says open up, and they're coming in. Golden Guardian's going to shut down Santorin, and he says, okay. running through the base. It's going to be 47 minutes on the clock. Golden Guardians are going to be knocking down the Nexus turrets, and they will be riding the ship here in the Summer Split as they take down FlyQuest.
What a crazy ending. You know, I was watching the minimap there trying to see what exactly was happening with PowerOfEvil. It looked like PowerOfEvil was trying to actually TP from top lane down to that bottom lane and lost track of the fact that Damonte and Hauntzer were actually over there and got on top of him. So not only did the teleport get interrupted, you get stunned up, you get piled on, he gets knocked down, and he was that key damage dealer for FlyQuest. Without PowerOfEvil, you actually can't win those 5v5s. So the double soul laners find one mistake where PowerOfEvil lost track of where people were. They kill him off. It's his first death of the game, and that is all it took. They closed the game out. Yeah. And that was a bit of a wild one. Credit to Golden Guardians for not crumbling in what was this crazy split push situation.
Wild is a great word for it. I like that one. Looking at how this game could have played out, now looking again, Ornn, Graves, Orianna, Senna, and Blitz for FlyQuest, right? So if we would have expected that Golden Guardian gets Baron a bunch, how do they clear waves? And that's actually what it came down to, right? They needed Orianna, basically the one that could clear waves, in a different side lane when that fight was happening. So coming down to it, I think Golden Guardians knew that. Scaling is always a thing. Everybody's always saying scaling. We scale, they scale. And I'm sure FlyQuest had that in mind as they were behind 5K at one point and came back to bring it to even. Just the inhibitors kept falling on either side that really kept them from doing anything to an advantage.
Yeah, I mean, it is tough, right? FlyQuest clearly was winning the 5v5s. They were clearly taking control of those team fights, but the one Dragon Steel getting soul for Golden Guardians was huge from closer. That really made a very big difference in the game. And it's these small panic moments. You've got to stay so composed and really make no mistakes against these split push teams. So I do think it was so smart from Golden Guardians to just hard commit to this split push. They know they couldn't win 5v5. So not only are your soul laners appearing, now all of a sudden, Tahm Kench is ulting in with an additional person too. So they're spreading the map, pushing waves, making FlyQuest respond, and then sending 4, sometimes 5 members to a lane like that. And you just can't always respond.
They were moving quick, and they knew they had to act fast. So it is now time to take a break. When we return, Pastry is going to be joining FBI for the Verizon post-game interview. Don't go anywhere.
Look forward, hit the gas, focus on the road before you. The Honda Civic, with standard Honda sensing. It's fun, always.
Welcome back to the Verizon post-game interview. My name is Pastry Time, and joining me is the victorious FBI from the Golden Guardians as you guys finally, it feels like, pick up win number 2.
Yeah. I think recently we haven't been playing very well on stage, and the confidence, especially on stage games, I feel like has been really low, so it feels really good to pick up this win, yeah.
Is there anything that changed today to maybe make things feel a little bit more confident or feel different, or is it just kind of like building up enough reps to be like, okay, we know we're good, we just have to translate that play?
Yeah, I think we have a lot of confidence in our practice and scrim results and stuff like that, but I think especially today, because of what happened yesterday, it was a pretty disappointing loss. I think the thing that really pumped our team up was actually Damonte. He brought us in before the game, and he just grouped us up, gave us a huddle, and a pretty epic speech. So I think we all kind of came into today just more fired up. Yeah.
And is it more challenging given the way you guys like to approach the game? Because I think one of the things that is great about your team, but also I think makes the games more difficult, is that there's lots of emphasis on early game, fairly difficult to execute team comps. I would say you don't make the game easy on yourself necessarily, but I do think you have the ability to play those comps. Does it get harder when you're playing no tanks, not playing something as simple?
Yeah, for sure. There's always going to be that fear that on stage you're not going to be able to execute a 1-3-1 comp or a no frontline comp as easily on stage. But we know we can always fall back and play the team fight kind of style. So we're just I don't know, we're just trying to kind of develop a different style, I guess. But yeah, we can always just go back and play team fighting as well. So that's always nice to have.
That's true. And then I guess even though a lot of your games have been close, you're only now picking up your second win. Do you feel like this is the start of your team showing your actual strength, closer to your actual strength?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, it's hard to say that considering how we played yesterday, and I mean, it's only been a day since then. So yeah, it's difficult to really say, but I'm just really confident that we're going to have a good week of practice this upcoming week, and we'll have better results for next week.
All right, well, speaking of next week, you play Double Lift next week as you guys take on TSM in one of your matches next weekend. How are you feeling on that particular matchup? Yeah,
Double Lift is a really good AD. Personally, I've looked up to him in the past, but these days I'm just kind of just chilling. I'll just play my game and he'll play his, and we'll see who comes out on top.
All right, well, FBI, thank you so much for joining me. We're going to hear what the State Farm analyst has to say there about your win.
Thank you very much, Pastry Time. A very necessary win for Golden Guardians to start turning things around in their season, and they get it off of an impressive individual play by Hauntzer in the top lane. I'm sorry, are you guys seeing Prolly right now? I can't ignore this. I'm sorry. This is just I can't. There's no amount of professionalism that's going to get me through this moment. Prolly, sit up straight in your chair, damn it. He's frozen. People at home, he's frozen. We're going to work through the segment while he finds his way back online. That non-passing Senna, Mark. Let's go. Let's talk about it.
Hurts.
Mark, have you been muted this whole time,
He's
too?
been frozen, too.
Oh, Lord.
I got
This
it.
is falling apart.
I got
Crumbs, you're my last hope.
Your
Get in
fasting
here.
Senna allows you to have other champions in the bottom lane so that you can have actual wave clear. You can funnel gold into different picks like the Mad Lions that love to run the Wukong Senna combination. So it's a lot more explosive. Here, we got a Blitzcrank support and then the Senna just sitting in the side lanes not doing a whole lot. So I still don't get this pick. I'd love to talk to Mash and see what is the logic behind this, but I personally felt like I would have loved to see him on a carry, which were the picks that he performed really well on his debut on FlyQuest. To me, this is not playing to his strength.
Prolly's back. I want to recognize that. Glad to have you back with us, but I am going to hand it back to Mark so he can get right back in on this point.
DPM. This is the part that blows my mind. He goes full damage Senna, takes all the CS. You can't take the normal support that you would be able to take whenever you have a fasting Senna who's going to be giving more gold. He did less damage than on average when you're using Grasp Frozen Mallet, Black Cleaver Senna would have. So horrible game for that. And then on top of the fact, it totally messes up with how you actually play side waves later in the game, and they're against a split pushing team comp. Graves needs to be in the side wave dealing with wave clear while the Senna does ward clearing duty with the 3-man core in the mid lane. Like, it totally ruined their game plan on so many levels, and sorry. I had to word vomit all that out quickly.
Continued questions around the Senna pick, but probably now I want to come to you with the full draft, because we also have to take a look at from the Golden Guardian side what they came in with.
Yeah, so I don't want to go ahead and say Fascinating Senna would have solved this game's problems. GGS came in with a 1-3-1 comp. They have Ezreal, I guess you want to say is global, but really they have the Tahm Kench and TF, and then a split pusher. So this is a really, really strong 1-3-1 composition. Your mid is hard to catch, your side lanes are powerful, and you have the counter pick in the top lane. So the fact that they got an early game lead from Closer was a really easy way to propel them into the mid late game where they're actually able to split up FlyQuest. And that's what they did for a really long time. FlyQuest was not able to group the Orianna and the Ornn together to get those big wombo combos. They were pretty much being torn apart, and then Closer got that, fourth Drake steal and got the soul for it. So I think FlyQuest did a good job trying to stifle the 1-3-1, but this is kind of an example of when you see a 1-3-1 comp turn online, how hard it is to play against. The fact that they had both inhibs down, but they're winning team fights, it's definitely a weird kind of play style.
I thought it was really impressive that Golden Guardians did not really get caught in a team fight. One time it happened in the mid lane where, okay, you lost a few members, but it wasn't an all-out, okay, you lost a fight and you lost the game. They were able to really cut their losses quickly and return to the 1-3-1 form and constantly look to pressure that top lane inhibitor, because they knew once you crack it, you start being able to transfer that pressure into the other side lanes, and once you break the base, it's pretty much over for FlyQuest. They have to turtle in their base entirely. So it took a lot of tries for Damonte to stay up there, but we have to commend the fact that he's been running Twisted Fate 3 times, not giving up on it, despite the fact that his last TF performance was one of the worst we've seen.
Yep, realizing he needs to get that champ up to a playable state for the squad, and it looks like he's approaching that level. We threw flack at the Senna pick mark, but we also have to talk about the way that Golden Guardians abused it, in particular Closer in the early game, doing a good job of shutting it down.
Yeah, Closer was able to play setup for the entire game. I mean, this is a huge play right here, being able to get an early kill, put this lane behind, which wasn't going to be a focal point anyways, and get some gold onto the members of your team. A 1-3-1 comp is one of those that it's really important that you get ahead. One of the reasons they struggled in this game was because Hauntzer was getting outplayed a little bit by Solo, which slowed the game plan down, but at least they were able to get things going in the bot lane to make sure that their mid core of the 3-man, while the other people are splitting, was strong and had pressure pretty much the entire game off this play.
So you can see the impressive stats from Closer there. 5 kills plus assists in the first 15 minutes and a nice goal differential, but it's also important to note how far behind MASH was set, down 1,600 gold at 15 minutes. So in that same amount of time, quite a lot of damage done.
Well, Closer is doing his job. That's what we wanted to see out of him, being able to play these highly mechanically intense champions and still deliver on it. And it was the 2v2 duo that you see in every single one of these plays focusing the bottom lane that they had in mind when they paired Damonte and Closer together. So the fact that the two are starting to click together starts to make us think that, okay, we're seeing what Golden Guardians had envisioned for what this roster is capable of, but now we want to see a little bit more beyond the Twisted Fate, because clearly this is a pick that this team is continuing to go towards. It's going to be in their arsenal when they have to pull out their best wins, as they already did it here, and they did it against Cloud9. Not that it was a win, but it was a good game. So the more they develop this synergy and expand the champion pool, I think that's when we really start to see just how good Golden Guardians is.
Mark?
And it's just a great thing for Golden Guardians who were struggling. This is one of those games where if they lost it, you're sitting at 1-5. It's a really tough position to be in. They let some games get away from them, like the Immortals one that they probably shouldn't have. Taking down FlyQuest is not only a good win in terms of strength of schedule, but also just for preserving your record.
Yeah. I got to say, too, that reminds me of what FBI said in that interview, calling out the fact that Damonte brought everyone into a huddle before this game and gave them that kind of speech to jazz them up and really get their minds in the right place. It's great to see someone stepping up in a leadership fashion for that squad, and hopefully they will take this as a boon for them through the rest of the split. We've got one more game before we wrap up the weekend. It's Evil Geniuses taking to the Rift as they aim to take down Dignitas, so don't go anywhere.